Hi, Adit. Thank you so much for coming here and doing this podcast with us.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Some people I hear saying that, you should only play one sport and then excel in it. What would you tell parents?
So till
Right.
the age of 8 or 9, it's very important for a child to try out multiple sports and then actually go and opt for one sport.
Which she's doing herself.
Right. Kids transform and then neighbors, relatives, they see how the child is transformed and then they come and roll the kids with us. Yeah. So
How lovely.
GD Goenka is also one of those centers wherein kids from 50 schools come and participate in different events.
I take a lot of pride in that. That this is a necessity in today's time. It's absolutely necessary for every child to play. Welcome to Goenka Alpha Edge Podcast by GD Goenka Mohali, a platform for conversations that shape future-ready minds and institutions. Hi, I'm Harman, the Academic Director and Head of Communications at the school. Today, we focus on the evolving role of structured sports in school and how organized systems can unlock discipline, leadership, and holistic student development. We are honored to welcome Mr. Adit Goel, founder and CEO of TIDA Sports, a venture-backed startup transforming the Indian youth sports ecosystem. An alumnus of IIM Calcutta and Thapar University, Mr. Goel brings a strong institutional strategy background, having previously served as the Director of Strategy at ANI's group of schools, managing operations for over 2,500 students and 8,000 stakeholders. Today, he's scaling TIDA Sports across 250 plus academic in North India. Today, he's scaling TIDA Sports across 250 plus academies in North India, turning schools, playgrounds into valuable, high-impact assets for students' growth. We look forward to an insightful conversation with Mr. Adit Goel. Hi, Adit. Thank you so much for coming here and doing this podcast with us. Sports is something that every parent today wants it for their child. But parents still keep pushing children towards academics, fearing sports. Now, sports, they would just see more as fitness or maybe just channelizing their energy. But in your experience, is not allowing a child to play actually a bigger risk? Play means like literally play a sport.
So I have a counterintuitive take on this. So in 2026, academics is officially the riskier path. So every child's fundamental necessity is to play. But in today's world, if parents are pursuing more towards academics and leaving out play behind, they are craving the child for the basic fundamental biological needs. So definitely play is something that every child needs to adopt.
Right, absolutely. Is there a difference between a child who is trained in sports and a child who is pressured into sports? How can parents tell the difference?
So it's very easy to tell the difference. A child who's trained in sports, you can actually look at into the eyes and you can tell it. A child who's trained into sports, he owns the game. Whereas a child who's pressurized into the sports, he is always looking at the sidelines, either towards his coach or his parents. So a child who's playing for his coach or for his parents, he's the one who's pressurized into sports. And the child who's always looking for the next move, he's the one who owns the game. So it's actually pretty easy to tell whether a child is either pressurized or if he's well trained.
I wouldn't say pressurized, I wouldn't use that word, but I genuinely feel that parents should encourage and push at least a little bit every child. It's necessary for every child to play. And I feel the beauty of the fact that when they go to school, they have an environment where they're exposed to different kind of sports and they can play, pick and choose what they sort of resonate with more. So the school should give that opportunity. I remember back in the time when we were studying, there were so many children in the school and there were less sports options and it was not a compulsion, But in boarding schools, it was a compulsion for every child to take up sports. And unfortunately, in the plains, sports hasn't been like a thing that every school has taken up as a necessity that every child who's studying in the school will play. That's not a thing of the plains. I don't know how far it is a thing of the plains now. With Goenka, of course, we have wanted to, build it up in a manner that every child plays a sport. At least by the end of the time when they pass out from the school, they know that this is a sport that I loved, or, they've excelled somewhere. I would also want to ask you this, so I have a 9-year-old, and we sort of push her that, you have to play a sport, pick up whichever you want to, but you have to, And it's funny that, she'll play tennis for some time, and then she'll say, I know it all. Mama, I want to do something else. In your experience, what do you think, and there's so many children like her who would want to play one and jump to the other. Whereas as a parent, when I see other people's view, some people I hear saying that, you should only play one sport and then excel in it. What would you tell parents?
So we have a very simple philosophy at TIDA as well. So even with GD Goenka, we have multiple sports running in the school, and we track each child from age 4. And our advice to parents is always that the child should be physically active, either in one sport or the other.
True.
And we give each child an option to explore multiple sports. So till the age of 8 or 9, it's very important for a child to try out multiple sports and then actually go and opt for one sport.
Which she's doing herself.
Right. So even at GD Goenka, we have multiple sports: football, cricket, badminton, basketball, skating, dance even. And all the 4-year-olds who come to us, so they first of all try out multiple sports, and then they eventually choose where their interest lies in, and then they opt that sport.
Which is good, right?
Right. Which is essential because the child gets to discover and try out multiple sports and then eventually go for their interests.
So I remember when TIDA was setting up, the entire sports area of GD Goenka, I was so excited and happy because there are very less schools who would have such a good quality and such good options of sports in one single place. And for schools to invest such a big amount of money into sports is not something that everybody likes. But I see that what thought did you have in your mind when you brought up TIDA?
So even with GD Goenka, the infrastructure that the school has built in terms of sports is exceptional. And there are hardly any schools in Tri-City which has such an exceptional infrastructure. And honestly, I was even I was very excited after I saw the school for the first time. Reason being, they had kept in mind very small things while setting up the entire sports arena on how to make the best use of the space.
True.
And how a child from a beginner level can actually excel to a professional level. So sports infrastructure is very, very essential, which schools don't realize. But now with COVID coming in and with the digital era coming in, parents are feeling the need more than ever. So we are getting a lot of queries from toppers of different schools wherein this child is excelling academically, but the child is not even able to socialize or communicate in a social setting. And sports is something which helps them outgrow their shyness, outgrow their comfort zone. And that the infrastructure plays a very important role in that.
I think sports has much more to do with just physical activity. Usually we've been conditioned to think like that. It's just physical activity, but it's also regulation of emotions, expressions, and emotional stability. There's so much more that sports actually teaches a child than just physical fitness. Would you agree that?
Absolutely.
Right.
So in today's world with generative AI coming in, where a machine can synthesize information better, write code better, prepare reports better.
True.
So if a child's only skill is to memorize and cram data better, he would be outdated very fast.
True.
So if a child has grit, if a child is persistent, if a child knows how to handle emotions, if a child knows how to handle a loss, if a child knows how to handle being dropped out of the team, and if a child is having a bad day and still come to the field next day. So these are qualities and skills that cannot be taught in a classroom. These are qualities that has to be taught, that comes very naturally with sports.
In a world where we are battling depression like crazy, I think people cannot take rejection. People cannot take criticism. I think these are qualities that are built when you're on the field, playing with children, And I think that's the beauty of sport. And when all these facilities are available within the school, I think that's the best environment that you can give to your child.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, some parents see sports as a reward after studies, and I've seen a lot of them. Do you believe sports should instead be a foundation that supports studies?
So sports is something which helps children learn everything apart. So everything that helps them handle loss, that help like reward. Sports should never be treated as a reward for studies. In fact, if sports is not there, the studies won't be studies would not be that efficient. So sports actually make studying better for a child.
True.
And in our experience dealing with thousands of kids every month, we have seen parents realizing that very late when the child goes into his teenage. And parents and kids who are active in sports throughout their childhood, they are actually much better in academics than kids who are not involved in sports.
Right. Because I've heard this a lot, like with my own ears, that तू अच्छा पढ़ ले, तेरे इतने मार्क्स आ गए तो तुझे टेनिस खिला देंगे, तुझे नया बैट ले लेंगे. Like how parents tend to use sports as a reward and not let them see that this is a necessity in today's time. It's absolutely necessary for every child to play.
Right.
Okay, now this is also something that I'm sure most parents would want to listen. Parents worry about injuries. But in your experience, is emotional burnout more common than physical injury in children today? Does overprotecting parenting quietly kills a child's confidence on the field?
So a broken, a sprained ankle heals in a couple of weeks, but a child with emotional baggage, it takes years to heal. So we get a lot of kids who have done academically well, and they are not able to even look up into their eyes and talk. And we had a child with us in badminton, and earlier his parents came to us that he's not able to communicate, he's not able to socialize, and now he's amongst the top. He is a title winner. He's amongst the top kids in badminton in Punjab. He represents Punjab. And whenever he plays now, hundreds of eyes are watching him. So that's the kind of transformation sports brings, even if the kids are doing academically well.
I think it's fitness in general,
Right.
having the confidence and even your body feeling that. I can say that from my own personal experience also. I mean, nobody would believe if I today tell people that I was a child who's never stood on the stage and spoken a single line.
Right.
I've not played any sport. And I've never been into fitness, though I always wanted to. But the environment of the school was such that it was not seen as a necessity. And especially for girls, not at all. Even if it was a boy, they would be pushed into football and they would be pushed into playing basketball. But for the girls, your choice if you want to play. It was that kind of an attitude.
Right.
And academically, yes, of course, I was very good. But if you ask me about my emotional well-being, no, not so great. If you ask me, were you confident? No, I couldn't speak. I couldn't read a line straight if somebody would tell me that, we are listening to you. And here I am today sitting in front of you and living a social media life, And if I was to contribute my entire journey or wherever I've come here in life, I would 100% contribute to fitness. So I started my career as a content creator after I became a mom, after I had an amazing, 30 kgs weight loss transformation. That transformation actually transformed much more on the inside. I talk about it a lot. People saw the physical transformation, like how parents see their children playing sports outside. Nobody knows the groundwork that sports is doing or fitness is doing on the inside. It changes you as a person like 1000%. And you're this new you, and the confidence that you gain from, fitness, from sports is something else. Have you seen any child transform like that?
So we
I'm sure so many of
we
them.
see kids transform day in, day out. And even currently we are having...
Sorry to cut you, but do you have any parents who come up to you and say that, I've seen my child transform, I love the way this one plays? And can parents play as well?
So most of our kids come through referrals only because kids transform, and then like neighbors, relatives, they see how the child is transformed, and then they come and enroll their kids with us.
And do they bring their parents also?
Yeah. So
How lovely.
kids, so transformation in sports is it's a journey, and the number one thing that we convey to parents is consistency. So if you're consistent with sports, if you're coming day in day out, the child tends to learn a lot of qualities. And usually what happens is that kids are living in a bubble. So they wake up, they go to school, they sit in a bus, they're with those same 3 or 4 set of friends, then they go in the classrooms. Again, they are only with those particular students.
True.
So sports also tend to make kids meet a lot of kids across from different states, from different cities. And schools don't want to take the effort. But schools like GD Goenka, they have, like, we have a free hand to actually be able to do whatever sports activities you want. So GD Goenka is also one of those centers wherein kids from 50 schools come and participate in different events.
Wonderful.
And like
I take a lot of pride in that.
And the transformation is absolutely wonderful. Like,
Lovely. How lovely. So, if you had to choose, what is more important for a child's future, one extra tuition class or 1 hour of daily sports, and why?
so the return on investment on 1 hour of sports is 10x more than 1 hour of academics. So the child, like, whatever the child is learning in that 1 hour of academics, he can easily Google it, he can learn it in the classroom. But that 1 hour of sports actually teach the child tenacity, which cannot be taught in a classroom.
True.
And the skills, the life skills, the communication skills, the grit, the persistence is what that 1 hour of sports actually teach the child, which helps him throughout his life.
Many parents chase trophies and medals. Do medals build children, or do children need to build before medals?
So I see medals and trophies as pieces of metal. And I feel that medals and trophies are milestones that each child should aspire to. But even now it happens whenever we open a TIDA center and the kids participate in various tournaments every couple of months. And the parents come to us complaining that our child did not perform well. And they see our other students who have been with us since the last couple of years, and they see them finishing at a huge gap. And what parents don't realize is that it takes consistency, effort, the 4 a.m. grinds, taking kids on track to the court at 6 a.m. And medals and trophies should be seen as milestones in the journey, not a bragging right for the parent. So when parents start seeing as their social booster by attaining medals, then it's a problem. But when a child sees them as milestones from district to state to national, then they make a lot of sense.
Right.
So
True.
that is the
So
philosophy.
it's more like encouragement,
right.
and not something to feel proud of, and not something to be disheartened of if you don't win. I remember the first time my daughter was going to run a race, and the night before she's telling me, "Mama, I'm very anxious because what if I don't win the medal?" I was like, doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you run and you enjoy the race. It's not about the medal. But she was so anxious. But I want the medal. I said, everybody wants the medal as much as you want it. Everybody wants it. So I think parents can also, do that little prep talk. But like you rightly said, sometimes the medals are more for parents and less for children. Children don't care much, but parents care. And when their care transfers to children, it adds to pressure.
Right.
And they start to feel that, my parents expect me to, get this or be there. And do you think it sort of hinders the performance then?
Absolutely. If a child is only fighting for a medal, then the child would never analyze where he went wrong. But if a child is actually analyzing why and where were his faults, and then he prepares better for the next event, next tournament, he has something to look up to.
Right.
But if the only thing he's looking up to are medals, he's never going to excel in that game.
It's because we are conditioning our children to believe then medals is a way of approval, and that, we love you because you've won. So I think as parents, when your child plays and gets back, no matter what's the position, how it is. I think we should love them and appreciate them way more. That's
Right.
what sort of, builds their trust that no matter how I play, I am loved and I don't have to prove it to anybody.
So the moral support plays a huge, huge difference in a
Right.
child's
I'm
life
sure.
because we see a lot of times that kids are performing just for parents, and that's the worst kind of parents we actually count.
I think the children who are performing for parents are not loved at home.
Right.
And then they feel that maybe this, if I win or if we achieve something, maybe this will bring my parents to appreciate me and to love me.
Right.
There's the problem. The problem is not in the sport. The
Right.
problem is that the children who are working really hard only to impress their parents, it's because they're not loved. Whereas a child should be playing and enjoying the sport and enjoying their own progress.
Right.
And I think that something would make a huge difference in how the parents do their talk with their child.
So we have a common philosophy that every time the session ends, and if the child is talking about the game even after he goes home, then he had a good session.
Yes.
But if he's only talking, or if he's only thinking that I have to impress my parents, I have to win the next medal, then he won't be excelling in the game.
True.
So if the child takes back that winning attitude, that love for the game home, then he's bound to excel in it.
True.
So that encouragement from parents to play rather than to win is something that makes the interest even more prominent for the
I think
kid.
this is something that every parent should listen, that, this is what we need to give our children when they're playing. Is competition healthy for children, or is it the way adults project expectation that makes it unhealthy? That's exactly what we just spoke about. But this is a competition between children. So should parents be doing it? Is it healthy? I mean, obviously not.
So competition, I feel, is the most healthiest way of a child getting to know where he stands in the world.
Competition with himself or between the other players?
Between the other players.
Oh, interesting.
And it's a true mirror of where he stands. He actually understands and realizes that how and what to learn from other players.
Mm-hmm.
But if a competition is seen as an ego booster for parents, then there's a fault.
Yes.
But if the competition is used to analyze a child, analyze himself, and get better from it, then it should be a stress test rather than a validation test. So
How beautiful.
if the child is actually able to perform better in a competition, he's getting better how to perform in public, how to behave himself in public, how to so if a lot of eyes are watching the child and he's able to, with each competition he will get better. So competition, I feel, are very, very essential and
Right.
is
True.
very
That's a
important.
different perspective towards it. What is one parenting behavior you see on the sidelines that worries you the most about parents?
So we have nicknamed them as remote control parents. So the parent
Helicopter parents.
Right. So the parent who is controlling from the sidelines, that shoot, dribble, and even though they have no idea of the game, that's the kind of parent I
That's
worry
dangerous.
about. That's absolutely dangerous. Because the child starts listening to three people: his coach, his teammates, and the parent.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually what happens is that the child gets frozen and he starts he plays only to manage his parent, and he forgets about the game. So that is the parent that worries us the most, and we
I
try
hope
to
all the parents who are listening to this, please keep your remotes at home. You just see what your child is doing and enjoy what they're doing. Leave it to the coach, right?
So the parent should actually not be there.
Even better. Leave your kids and go. Okay. If you could say one uncomfortable truth to parents watching this, what would it be?
So I have seen a lot of parents who make excuses of academics and safety in order to not send their kids far away for coaching or training or sports. And being an athlete parent is tough. You have to take your kid away every evening. You have to take your kid for a 6 a.m. practice. You have to deal with the heartbreak of your kid getting dropped out of the team. True. You have to deal with a lot of stuff. You have to monitor diet. You have to monitor sleep. And parents, I have seen, tend to make excuses of safety, academics, distance, and honestly, that 1 hour of sports is going to take the kid places.
True.
And that is one very worrisome attitude that I see amongst parents, that they tend to make these small excuses not to be an athlete parent, and the results are very well visible as the child grows up, because the child who's playing sports, he would be more confident, he would be more he would have qualities of leadership, he knows how to manage a
So
team.
much more. True.
So that is one advice that I would like to give to parents, that you cannot make excuses if you want to make your
Right.
kid excel in life.
Right. I think as a parent, you should, it's a job to give our child every opportunity possible.
Right.
And then, of course, let life take them ahead. Let them themselves decide what is best for them. But if you don't give that opportunity, that's not fair.
Right.
And if we give them the opportunity and then we as parents are not consistent, we as parents are not giving 100%, if I enroll my child into something and then I'm not taking them because I have commitments and my child is missing, a class or a session because of my commitments, then I'm not being fair to the child. And yes, you absolutely rightly said, being an athlete parent is no joke. So which also brings us to this, that we should actually respect children who are into sports, all the athletes of the country. And I have so much more respect for them now because the parent also struggles. How much the parent has done is just unseen when we just see that one sports person and we are clapping for them 24/7. But we're not seeing how much effort it goes into making that child what the child is.
Right.
So,
The parent has to be a constant cheerleader.
yes, actually, the parent is the winner. The parent is the athlete.
Right. And you can see the fruits in
Absolutely.
future.
Absolutely. But even if, I honestly feel, even if the child is not reaching that level or anywhere for that matter,
Right.
even then sports is important.
Sports is very essential for a child because it teaches them qualities that are not taught anywhere else.
Absolutely.
And
It's a way of life.
right.
And my husband is into sports. He loves sports. He's into fitness. And for both of us as parents, sports is like a top priority, non-negotiable property for our child,
Right.
because it stays with you for life.
Exactly.
And my husband has this one constant thing that he will say, sports is everything. पढ़ाई हो ना हो, एक sport खेलना खेलना है. जो तुम्हें पसंद है, you have to pick up one sport. It'll stay with you for life.
Right.
And it'll shape you into a person that you otherwise would not be. So that's something that has been like a non-negotiable thing for us as parents. And I hope all the parents listening to this podcast really, give a little bit effort and maybe not push, but incline their child towards taking up some sport irrespective of gender. Just tell me this one last thing before we wrap this up. Do you see more girls nowadays, or do you still have a huge number of boys playing sports?
So we are trying a lot of stuff to actually get more girls into sports, and the trend has increased. So we are currently having the best girls team in Punjab.
Lovely. How lovely.
And we are also making a lot of only girl centers for parents who are insecure. So, but we are seeing a huge participation from the girls. And
Love
we have
it.
also seen a lot of participation from toppers, which was earlier not the case.
Super.
So parents who were focused on academics are now realizing the importance of sports. So we have also recently launched a couple of only girl centers, and the trend shift that has happened after specifically COVID is very good because parents are now more aware of what benefits the sports bring. And we are seeing a huge participation.
I think also
than
because
earlier.
COVID shook everybody up and everybody was like, okay, health is important, and especially for children.
Right.
And I'm so glad and so proud that, this shift is happening and girls are being, taking up sports. And I want every girl at Goenka to be in some sport and playing some sport, Thank you so much for doing this with us, Adit. I think, I hope this podcast reaches the right parents, the right audience, and parents and children both take up to sports. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here, and hope to see a lot of more parents come into sports. And
Absolutely. Me too. Thank you.
thank you.
As we wrap up today's episode of Goenka Alpha Edge, We hope this conversation gave you not just information, but perspective, something to pause, reflect on, and carry forward. If this episode added value to your learning journey, do follow and subscribe to Goenka Alpha Edge so you never miss conversations that matter. Share this episode with parents, educators, or students. You could benefit from these insights because meaningful learnings grow when it's shared. At Goenka Alpha Edge, we believe education isn't just about grades or careers, it's about building awareness, responsibility, and strong human values. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep evolving.